20 closed deals every single month by converting Facebook ad leads. In this video, I've got the pleasure of bringing on Armando Gomez, who is one of the best ISAs or inside sales agents that I've ever met in the industry, and he reveals how he was converting upwards of 20 deals every single month by converting Facebook ad leads using his exact scripting process, and he breaks down every single thing that he says in order to convert leads into conversations, booked appointments, and closed deals. Not only that, he even reveals what the exact Facebook ad is so that you can replicate this in your market to generate leads, and then he'll walk you through exactly how to close them. He also breaks down various other scripts for things like open houses, expired leads, and everything that you need to know. So if you're looking to elevate your closing game and start to convert leads into consistent closed deals, this is the conversation that you need to hear. He has cold called upwards of 1,200 people a day for years, and he reveals all of his secrets in this first ever interview. So, two quick things before getting started. Number one, I will link Armando's content below so that you can check out exactly who we're talking about. And number two, I will link his calendar below in case you would like his direct help for free to take your business to the next level. Him and his wife Naleka work together as partners and have been consistently closing over 70 deals a year while traveling 3 to 6 months of every year as well. And they help agents be able to become remote agents and be able to consistently close high quality leads regardless of where they're working from using their system in a box. So if you would like to chat with them about that, of how you can scale your business while having a flexible lifestyle, click that link in the description. They've helped a ton of agents just like you, and this can be your year to scale to the next level. So let's dive into all things lead conversion, the number one thing agents struggle with, because at the end of the day, most agents don't have a lead problem. Generating leads is very easy. They have a lead conversion problem. So let's walk through how to convert leads like crazy. All right, Armando. So super excited to dive into a topic that I think, especially now, coming off a year where 71% of agents didn't close a single deal, lead generation is the name of the game this year. And many people are struggling with it. So I'm really excited to kind of dive into, what you've been able to do to convert at such a high rate and, taking a really unique, warm, inviting approach to scripting that actually converts. But before diving into the tactical, I would love for you to just introduce yourself, talk about who you are, where you're from, and what got you to the point where, you guys are now doing 70 plus deals a year while traveling for half of the year.
Yeah, man. So Armando Gomez with It's a Breeze Real Estate was a former broker owner. I actually just recently merged over with EXP. Been in the industry for going on 9 years. Came from a corporate background, which is what led me to get into the lead generation that we're about to get into. So jumped out of corporate America into entrepreneurship about 9 years ago, and it's been an amazing epic ride ever since.
Yeah, your past job was actually doing something similar, wasn't it?
Yeah, so worked at Chase Bank, did loan modifications and collections for different sectors, credit cards, auto, student loan, mortgages. So it was pretty well versed, but then it allowed me to build a skill set that actually played really well into real estate. Obviously, just having to switch up some of the scripting, some of the frequency or cadence of follow up. But yeah, just my past time there, I was there for about 10 years as well. Got in there fresh out of high school, which I didn't know at the time, but was setting me up with some pretty good skill sets that would definitely benefit me in my real estate career.
Yeah, definitely. And so let's start diving into prospecting, because there's a million different ways to slice and dice this business. And as you and I both know, everything works if you're willing to do the work. And I think a lot of people are trying to, paint this picture that there's some secret sauce or overnight success or cheat code or whatever. And that simply just doesn't work. It all works if you're
Mhm.
willing to do it. And so, one of the best ways to generate now business, which is where a lot of people are, is going to be proactive prospecting. Obviously, I talk a lot about the more reactive passive prospecting, which is going to be your content, but most agents don't have the luxury to wait 3, 6, 9, 12 months in order for that to build momentum. Like, they need deals now, today, immediately. And that's what you've done so well at. So let's start to unpack what you've done in terms of, who you calling, what are you saying? I know that you've mentioned that there's only a variety of scripts that people need to have a general understanding of. I think understanding being the key word there instead of memorizing and regurgitating. But let's talk about what that process is like in terms of who you're calling, when you're calling, and what you're actually saying.
Yeah, so I love that you teed it up that way because, yes, I mean, obviously, we know at the top of the funnel starts with activities, right? 101 ways to go out there to get leads, clients, and business. We just teach our agents to pick at least, one to two. So to me, early on, again, starting like early in my career, I was already used to being on the phones. So I knew that I was going to, build my business over the phones through real estate. But then from there, obviously, there's expireds, FISBOs, absentee owners, NODs. We were doing Google pay-per-click, Facebook ads. So me being new, I didn't know what was going to work for me. So I called a little bit of everything all day for about 9 to 10 hours a day. And I one to before I get into that, I knew the timeframes with each. Like I knew that these weren't going to be an instant gratification lead source. I knew that it was going to be on average between 5 to 7 months before somebody even raised their hand to say they were ready to get the process started. So I knew that going in. And I feel that that's crucial because sometimes agents will just jump into a lead source and give it 1, 2, 3 attempts, give it a week or two, and then they tap out. They're like, it doesn't work. It sucks. What can I do next? You got to know the numbers because it makes the grind and your commitment a lot more solid, right? So I knew that going in. Now I knew we were going to get the ones or twos, but I also knew I was new. So I knew I was going to have to, educate myself, kind of build some better frameworks, kind of understand my value adds, so that way I can compete with these other seasoned or top producing agents in my network or area. So I was very adamant about that and just started, dialing everything, seeing what worked. Well, because we, share a mutual friend and business partner, he put me onto tracking very early on. So we were able to, at about 65, 75 days, just look at the data. And we had a couple of closings, but more importantly, we looked at where the appointments were being set, where our appointment conductions were happening, like what was just giving us the best return in regards to time and ad spend. And it was Facebook ads. So we went ahead and just bailed on everything else and went chips all in on Facebook. And man, that was a huge game changer for us. One, it allowed me to stay super focused in the lead source that I was working and be super committed to it. But then it allowed me to master it at a faster pace. So at about 11 months or so, man, the compound effect truly kicked in. Everything was up and running. I built an ISA team. I was running as a ISA model to start and within our business. So I just had a handful of agents that I was passing off these deals to. In about 11 months or so, was having 20 plus deals in any given month, and hadn't stopped since.
That's crazy, man. And I think that's really critical for people to understand is it goes back to what gets measured gets managed and being able to, try a couple different things, but then, very consciously and intentionally say, I'm going to do this for 3 months, for example. And after those 3 months, I'm going to review the data and see where the majority of business is coming from. Because as we know, 80% of your deals are going to come from 20% of the effort that you're doing. What is that 20%? And many people are spending their time equally on the 80% that's not working because they're not looking at the data and they're not looking at the KPIs and the important metrics. And so let's start diving into that Facebook ad approach. Before getting into, how you were following up with it, I'd love for you to share what type of ads you were running because I know people are going to be very curious as to what ads actually performed for you.
Yeah, so great question. So we get asked that a lot, like were you running buyer ads, seller ads? We always have run buyer ads, but even through running buyer ads, we've always been able to pull a lot of listings from it. It's about 60-40 in regards to buyers to sellers, and we're the complete opposite of most of the industry. We prefer buyers. It's more relationship based as opposed to a sell where it's more transactional. So we've always preferred buyers, but in the scripting and just questions that we would ask, if they owned a house, it came up, we knew, and then we would kind of just start going down that lane in regards to, okay, well, here's how we can help you with that as well, kind of tie it all together, ensure that you don't end up without a house or having to pay on two, which is the general public's, misconception. So which is easier for us to go over that. But the best performing ad that we had that we ran for probably 4 to 5 years consistently, but just little changes in regards to price point, pictures, things like that was, so I'm here in Arizona. And it was obviously here in Arizona, it's very, very hot. So swimming pools and resort style backyards are, where it's at here. So we would run, check out these beautiful homes located in Surprise, Arizona, starting at 450,000 with beautiful sparkling swimming pools or resort style pools or big RV garages. Imagine yourself living here. We can get you in a home before summer. Please click on, the button below to learn more. Had to learn more. And that one just converted crazy. And then we knew we had a lot of out-of-state to in-state buyers coming in. So we'd run those same ads in different markets: California, Texas, Florida, Michigan, Washington, a couple places where it was cold and we knew people were migrating to. So we'd just run those ads. And I mean, that was by far our best performing ad. That just little, tweaks and changes here and there. But that bad boy ran for about 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, man, that's incredible. And I love that you say that, because that's the ad that I always preach for people to run as the first best ad to get started with, which comes down to a blend of price point and features, and being able to find that price point that is the average price point that somebody would be either moving up to, moving down to, or buying their first property, and kind of is the best one size fits all price point, but with a unique feature that's in extremely high demand that for your markets. And obviously I just got back from Arizona, and being able to see how hot it is, swimming pools are obviously in demand. It really takes each individual listening to this to be able to reflect on your unique market, to identify what's in high demand, what's a very attractive feature. Could be a walkout basement, could be a view, could be proximity to downtown, could be anything, corner lot, whatever, but finding something that is very desirable and blending that with a price point. So I love that. And very psychologically, it makes sense for it to convert very high. So you're running that ad, and this is where a lot of people get stumped, which is it's very easy to generate leads. And most agents, make their business, they convince themselves that their problem is a lead problem. But the truth is generating leads can be very easy. It's not a lead problem, it's a lead conversion problem. So let's start unpacking and digesting, how to actually convert those Facebook leads into conversations, booked appointments, clients, and closed deals.
Yeah, so great. So one, I like to start this off with going down the funnel, right? Why do we do any activity, open houses, Facebook ads? It's to get leads. Why do we get leads? It's to follow up with them. I feel like agents just try to bypass that as quick as possible, right? They just, let's work together. Nope. Okay. On to the next, right? You gotta just know up front that most lead sources, even if it's an open house lead source, which is a little bit more instantaneous, some of those you're still going to have to follow up with. You're going to want to follow up with them in a week, a month, a year. Maybe they bought, not with you. The average Phoenician here retransacts every 6 years or so. So at some point, they're going to need our services. So use a CRM. Like, that is going to be your assistant, the best tool in your tool belt to help you stay on top of these leads. If you don't have a CRM to help you with frequency or cadence in regards to follow up, to help reach out or spark engagement on your behalf through text messages or drips, if you don't have a system to go ahead and prompt you, when to go ahead and reach out or follow up, or to do whatever you were going to do, or we always tell our agents, like, today's the day. Today's the day somebody told you, hey, call me tomorrow, call me next week, call me next month, call me after the holidays, call me after whatever. And guess what? Tomorrow is the day. It's the day that somebody said, hey, call me tomorrow, call me next week. So if you don't have a CRM in place to help stay on top of it, a lot of your lead generation is going to be for nothing. Like, they're going to fall between the cracks. You're going to miss out on clients. But if you use a CRM, it'll help you not only stay in front of them, but you'll capture more, which means you get more closing in escrows, which is what we essentially do this for. So one, I like to say, start off with a CRM. Two, I think agents try to overcomplicate it, right? What are the scripts? What are the scripts? Bro, when I first started, there was no Chat GPT. Oh my God, that would have been a game changer. Again, I built my business as an ISA. There was really no ISA trainings or coaches or people who were doing it at the level that I wanted to do it to. So then that's when I was like, okay, if there's no guy to go look at and, take from, or to, try to surpass, then be the guy, become the guy, create the lane. So then that was just my whole focus. So fortunately, as I mentioned earlier, how I was calling all these different lead sources, I just, like, there was, again, no Chat GPT. I didn't want to have to memorize 4 different scripts for each different lead source. So what is the meat and potatoes? Like, what is it that we're trying to do per each lead source? So I just simplified it. I just realized that there was a voicemail script, that there was an intro script, that there was an appointment setting script, that you needed to have your buyer consultation and your listing presentation dialed in, and then a pass off script if you were going to pass it off to an agent or maybe even a lender or a partner, right? But that was it. So I saw that there was actually very minimal scripts that I needed. And then because I had called different lead sources, I didn't want to have to memorize this one and learn this one and this one and this one, because obviously how you follow up with the open house lead is different than a FSBO, then different than a Facebook ad. So I just simplified it. So mine, they're nothing sexy. They're just super simple, and I can get into it later if you want, because it's literally like 2 or 3 sentences. But essentially, I just showed myself that you're just having a conversation with a human being. Like if it was your mom, your daughter, your best friend, you don't need a script to figure out how you can help them, or how you can express your value, or how you can help get them from where they're at to where they want to go. You should be able to know what you do, what it is you offer, and how you can help, right? So scripting to me was never like a big theme. People like to, can you role play? I don't want to role play for free when I could role play and possibly get thousands of dollars. Like, I'll take the L. I was recording myself, so I was always like reflecting, like, why didn't that call go well? What could I have said different? How can I expedite again my skill set? Since again, I went chips all in, so I was like, I got to become better at this. So I was always just trying to edify myself. So the scripting part, that was very easy. Like I said, I can get into it, but I feel like the simplicity of it and just knowing in advance, okay, like, so going down the funnel, like, yeah, we follow up with leads. Well, why do we follow up with them? Like, a lot of agents will get on the phone and they just say a lot but don't do shit, or don't say shit, right? I knew that if I was calling a lead, it was to set the appointment. There's the reason why we converse with all these leads is to set the buyer consultation or the listing presentation. That way we can, from there, express our value, our knowledge, explain that we're the best agent to get them from where they're at to where they want to go. So to me, I always had a game, or I always had a micro target of, this is how many appointments I need to set today. This is how many appointments I need to set this week. This is how many I need to set each month. And then I just built my frequency and cadence on it. So when I first got in, the numbers are a little bit skewed, especially now with everybody's production going down and work efforts needing to increase. But at the time when I got in, it was 250 dials to 50 conversations to 5 appointments to 1 closing. So my whole thing was, how do I condense that down as quick as possible? So I got it down to where I only needed 17 conversations that would set 2 appointments, and then I would have 1 escrow or closing. And then I knew that I wanted to have X number of closings. So then I knew I needed to set X number of appointments, per the data, because we tracked it. So that was always my target, or, reason in regards to going into Facebook. In regards to conversion, if you want, I can get into it a little bit deeper, or kind of just any one of those scripts, but essentially a voicemail script. You'd be surprised at how many times when you're dialing, people think, I'm going to have all these conversations. And wouldn't that be great? But that's not the case. Most of the time you're leaving a damn voicemail. But you'd be surprised at how many times people even fumble that. Then the intro script, it's nothing sexy. It's just, hey, Mike, how's it going? This is Armando Gomez. It's a Bridge Real Estate Group. I was just checking in. Wanted to see if we could help you with anything real estate-wise. That's it. And then we go from there. The reason why I didn't get too heavy on the scripts is because I knew that as the conversation progressed, it was more going to be a dance of objections and responses. So it was going to be, no thanks, not right now, I'm good. So then I knew I needed to have a response for each one of those. No worries at all. Do you already own a current home then? Any time frame in mind you'd like us to check back in on you? Okay, well, what had you dancing around our website or checking out some properties online? Just taking it a little bit further. But I started realizing that the more responses that I had to the objections that I would hear, the easier the conversation would go, but it would allow me to get them, one, set more appointments, but if I couldn't set more appointments, at least get them in my world or matrix sooner, meaning maybe they didn't want to meet yet, but they wanted to connect with our lender. Maybe they didn't want to meet yet, but they wanted a CMA on their house or rental comps. Maybe they didn't want to meet yet, but they were cool to connect with the lender to get a credit plan. Whatever it is, but I wanted to start getting them in my world as possible, because I just saw those as separate little mini funnels, right? Like at some point I'm going to have all my people who are working on their credit start popping and turning. I knew that at some point, the ones who were hot to trot, I was going to start getting those. The ones who were going to close in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, whatever it was all just going to start being little mini funnels, which is why I knew, like, you are going to stay committed to this, because that's when you'll see the true compound benefit and results, right? So it was just that quick script, and then just the appointment setting script. Like, you just need to know where you're going to meet them. Are you going to meet them at an office? Are you going to meet them at their property? If it's a listing, obviously you're going to meet them at their property. Are you going to meet them at a Starbucks? Are you going to meet them over Zoom? Because then when you go to, Mike, sounds great. Definitely sounds like we're going to be able to help. When's the next best time for us to connect, to kind of go over the process? I'll have my lender on the call. I have Friday at 6 p.m. available, or I have Saturday morning at 10 a.m. available. Which day and time works best for you? And then just kind of going for the close, right? We always go for the assumption close. We don't ask if they would like to meet. It's, hey, it definitely sounds, like we could help. The next best step would be for us to jump on a Zoom, connect with our lender, kind of go over the buying process, what that would look like. Again, the buyer consultation. When's the best time for us to jump on a quick Zoom? We could do Friday at 6, or we could do Saturday at 10. And then they pick, and then I would just set it from there. And then you just start with little micro commitments. Like, I would say, perfect, I'll go ahead and send you the Zoom link, the appointment details. If you wouldn't mind just texting me back to confirm you got it, I'd appreciate you in that. They'd say, okay, great. They confirm that they got it, which starts those little micro commitments. You'd be surprised at how that little micro commitment will increase your appointment show rate. And then we just always try to focus on setting the consultation within 72 hours or less. We saw that within 72 hours, the show rate was, almost every time, like 9 out of 10. Anytime it went over 72 hours, the show rate drastically dropped, or you would send a text message or a video text or something. Hey, Mike, looking forward to seeing you today at 12. See you soon. Oh, hey, sorry, I can't make it. They had enough time to get it out. So we always try to do it sooner, but just knowing your appointment process and having your buyer consultation and listing presentation dialed in helped with all that. But that's essentially it. Outside of that, it wasn't like I'm not getting bro, we've kicked the talks enough. You could tell I'm not the most clearly articulated dude, right? I just was more committed, persistent, and consistent.
I love that. Dude, and I think that's a really great way to end that whole segment with, which is that, confidence comes with experience, not before it. And so many people are waiting to feel this insane amount of confidence and have all these scripts like absolutely perfected before they start dialing. And then there's people like you that are just saying, hey, done is better than perfect. I'm just going to dial and I'll get better over time, but I'm going to be the one that actually does the work and takes action. And there's a couple things that I really love that you talked about there. The first of which being that, I think a lot of people struggle with scripts because I think that it has to be this structured, robotic, verbatim, read line by line type approach, to the point where you always get this feedback from agents saying, like, I don't want to use scripts because I don't want to sound salesy. And at the end of the day, like my take on scripts, because I door knocked for my first 6 months every day, is that scripts are nothing but a guideline of how to get the conversation started, but every situation is unique. You need to be able to know how to tailor that to each individual person's, situation. And when people, religiously abide by scripts and they get one question that was not in their list of objection handlers, it throws them for an absolute loop. They're like, oh my God, never got that one. And I think
Yeah,
that comes down to, and we'll talk about this, but that comes down to people not really understanding the different scenarios, if you will. And
yeah,
I think, another thing that you've done really well is just being able to look at that data, right? Being able to look at, that concept of what gets measured gets managed, and being able to take a very calculated approach to reverse engineer. Like, one of the things I hear all the time is real estate is such a roller coaster. You can't build a predictable business. And the only way that that's the truth is if you're not measuring the data, you don't have KPIs, and you don't know what you need to do. Whereas people like you and Josh and Naleka, you guys know the numbers. And if you just look at the math, and you want to double your business, well, double this one KPI and your business will double. And I've seen, very rare people like you guys, and it's unfortunate that it's rare just because it takes a little bit of effort to do. But if you're religiously measuring your conversion rates, your dials, your call, any of these metrics, it can become a predictable, sustainable, scalable business where you have confidence in knowing what your year is going to look like. Whereas the average agent is just winging it, hoping that the numbers work out. And then they get 3/4 of the way through the year and realize there's not a hope in hell that they're going to hit their goals.
yeah. Which they would have known months prior if they were looking at it, right? So, and that's why too is it one, like, yes, to touch on what you had said, we always say that confidence comes from knowledge and repetition. We have the wealth of knowledge, but you got to put in the reps, right? So I knew that as long as I was just taking massive action, it was just going to compound. On top of that, I knew that there was only going to be about 6 conversations in total that I was going to have. I figured out that we were talking to people who were just looking to buy, just looking to sell, looking at buying and selling, looking at renting, wanting to get into a new build, or wanting to build a custom home. So after a while, I was like, oh, I've had this conversation before. Now the person's name, the details, the specifics had changed, but I'm like, oh, okay. So I started, realizing that. So that was one very like comforting, knowing that there wasn't going to be all these loops, right? Like in my 9 years of doing it, like I can't tell you the last time I heard something that threw me off, because I knew how to kind of like overcome it or kind of bounce back from it. So it definitely helps. But then also too, like if you don't know your targets, it makes it like you could get burnt out very easy. It's like, oh, this isn't working, I'm not getting the result. But I truly feel that knowing your numbers is what helps you stay committed, right? Like it's almost like a scoreboard. You're like, okay, yes, like I'm winning. I know that as long as I keep doing this, this is what it's going to get. As you mentioned, like the roller coaster where maybe you close the deal, nothing for a month or two, close the deal, nothing for a month or two. What I find is that once people start getting like around the client portion, but also to the under contract portion, that's when agents also stop taking their foot off of the gas for what got them there. So by the time they get the buyer broker, the listing agreement signed, by the time they're out showing them properties for sure, if they hadn't stopped by the time they got the buyer broker, definitely by the time they're showing houses, oh, I'm busy, I got showings, they got this, and they stopped the lead generation that got them those leads or clients. Well, if you're looking at the data and hey, I need to set 2 appointments every day, whether I got showings or not, it helps you stay more consistent and on top of your lead follow-up, which then keeps that more predictable, consistent business. So yeah, dude, the amount of trackers that we give or provide to our agents or the organization for them to help ensure measure, it's super simple. It all rolls up and ties them for them. They just got to enter in the numbers. That way they could, again, just build a more predictable, consistent, not only business, but income. You know what I mean?
100%, dude. And one of the things I'd love to kind of learn from you, and I know that this is just going to be a huge benefit to people. I could tell very quickly that you're really good at the subtle art of converting, in the sense of assumptive closes and these micro commitments and all of these little nuances. And that's what I find, is a drastic difference between people that are dialing and getting no results and dialing and getting incredible results, right? It's the same as, when I teach people how to close 6-7 figures from YouTube. It's a game of inches. It's the subtle tweaks that make all the difference. It's not like they're that much better than you. They just know the nuances. So from your experience of doing, probably hundreds of thousands of dials, what are some of those little nuances that you find help increase conversion rates, appointment setting rates, that type of stuff?
Yeah, man. It's, to me, like, because I've thought about it, I get asked that, and I always want to have some very like just witty or profound answer, but it's not. It's just using your CRM, having a schedule and knowing your day, like when are you going to dial, how many dials do you need, like knowing your numbers, and then just committing to it. Like that to me was just what truly separated me. I started seeing that agents would start trying to find busy work over the productive work. Brothers, there's nothing sexy about doing the actual content creation or doing the actual lead follow-up. Yeah, the closings, what comes from it, that's the sexy stuff. But like putting in that work, it's a grind, right? Now, compared to again, I'm here in Arizona, so I'm not out here throwing roofs on or doing roofing. I'm not doing HVAC work or doing landscaping. So in the grand scheme of things, this is still very easy and cush. So to me, it was just commit to it. Like, no, treat it like anything else. Like one of the things that I teach our agents that I told myself was, I'm going to commit to my lead generation time the same as I would commit to a client. Like if I put that on my calendar, that this is my time frame or my time block of when I was going to dial, I'd go and show just like I would if I was going to go work a multi-million-dollar client. And I kept that same commitment and just frequency and consistency. And that's what truly paid off. It was just, I was going to do more, meaning more dials, which led to more conversations, which led to more appointments set, which led to more conductions, which led to more clients and closings. But I was also going to do it longer than it. I knew that you were going to probably work 2 to 3 hours. Oh, cool. I'll work 10. And then you're going to work Monday through Friday. I'm going to work Monday through Sunday. Like sometimes I felt like there was 8 days in a week. Like I didn't even know what day it was. Like I was just in my dungeon grinding. But I just put like little things in play, I guess, and again, they're not nuances, but it was just, I found my rhythm. So like right now I'm at a
Mhm.
standing desk. Anytime I was doing my dials, my desk went up and my body knew, hey, it's time to get shit done. Like I like to grind with music on, playing in the background. It just keeps me upbeat, motivated. I'm just like, boom. Um, and then I just had my like flow. Sometimes in the evening, maybe it was, I'm gonna have a drink, and then I'd have some drinks, start making some dials. I kind of just made it a little bit more loose and lax. But yeah, I just found what worked for me. Set up my environment and my rhythm, my flow, my cadence. That way, once desk went up, music went on, it's like, okay, it's time to get shit done. And then it was like little things where it's like, okay, well, now that you're gonna get into this jam session, you can't sit until you set an appointment or until you do this. And then it was like, okay, cool. And then I knew that again, I needed to set. At the time, it was one appointment, then it went to two. And there was times when I'd call the missus and be like, "Hey, I can't come home. I didn't set an appointment yet. I'm out of leads to dial for today, so now I'm going to go out and network. Just shake hands, go out, pass out my card, try to just connect." I knew that. I always say this is a contact sport, meaning like the more connections, the more contacts that you make, the better the game's going to be, the more your stats are going to be, right? So I was just like, hey, if I have enough conversations, it'll convert, like it'll work. So I just stay focused to it. So it really wasn't too many nuances. It was just things like that. Like I know our process is a little bit unique in the sense where like I knew that I wanted our lender involved in our consultations, whether it was on a virtual consultation or if it was an in-person consultation. It just fit our flow better. I knew I wanted our lender to work out of our CRM. That way we didn't have to have all these different multiple chains and, oh, somebody didn't get CC'd or whatever. So they work out of our CRM. So that way everybody can go to one centralized spot, see where everything's at in the process, which helped with lead follow-up. Like, hey, Mike, I saw you spoke to our lender, Jimmy. Looks like you were just waiting on, your tax return. You mentioned you were going to file it this past weekend. I just want to see if you were able to get that done, right? Like it just helped. Everything's right there. So just building out, like knowing your process, your flow. If anybody needs help, I'd be more than happy to help, put that together. But just knowing everything to the pass off process. I knew what the pass off process was going to be. Our agents knew, hey, once I get shared or tagged, here's what I need to start doing in regards to replying to the group text or sending a group text or reaching out within a certain time frame. Our lenders knew what to do. Like everything was just so systematized to where I feel like that's another just big thing that helped like with the flow and the cadence. Like there was no way that we'd be able to close 20 plus deals a month if we didn't have that shit dialed in. So I got very clear on the systems and processes, made sure that our vendor partners were cool with our systems and processes. So that way they knew like, hey, it's just only going to maximize efficiency. It's going to minimize, unnecessary follow-ups or emails or just communication. This is why we do it this way. Are you cool to go? Perfect. And then we just literally just ripped and ran with it.
Yeah, man. And you said something really critical about, not only people being able to find out what works for them, but also a lot of this boils down to discipline because you said something really important that I hope people didn't skip over, which is, when it's in your calendar, you actually do it. And I used to have something similar. I would have a specific song that I would play right before I went door knocking that would get me in the zone. And it was kind of like, okay, once the song finishes, like strap up, get the boots on, like we're going out. And I'm not coming back until I have, a certain amount of contact information. And I had that routine for me, but that's where I think a lot of people go wrong is that they put it in their calendar and then a lender wants to go for a coffee or a friend wants to go for lunch or so, they find like something to design on Canva that's going to be busy but not productive and people, that's where a lot of people are falling into that 71% category that's not closing deals. It's not like they're doing nothing. Like I don't know any agent that literally wakes up and does nothing all day. They're doing something. It's just not the right thing. And that's because oftentimes the activities you need to do to scale aren't the sexiest, most fun, or most exciting activities, but you have to earn your stripes. And I think that's something that I would really love to hear from you, which is you've now been able to do the work to earn the reward. I think a lot of people want the reward without doing the work. And now, looking at the business that you and Naleka have been able to build, you guys are able to go on vacation. You guys have, are closing 70 plus deals a year in a predictable way. But you have that flexibility of your lifestyle as well to spend time with your kids and all these different things. What was that transition like to be able to then take, you've done all these calls and I know that you're still doing them, but you've been able to build this business that it has flexibility and balance and lifestyle built into it. What was that transition like once you were able to build momentum?
Yeah, great question. So we knew early on that like, what is your 3 5 year plan? We knew like growing up, we didn't have money, not even too much money. We didn't have money. We grew up, poor, and never been on a plane, never traveled. Maybe we went to California once or twice, but it's 4 or 5 hours away. It's not anything much, right? So we knew that we just wanted to travel. We wanted to provide opportunities and experiences to our kids that we didn't have growing up. So I preface that because that's why we also picked the lead source that we did. Because no matter where we were at, I could be in Michigan, I could be in New York, I could be in Florida, and I can still be doing my dials, keeping my same schedule. We always say, no matter where we're at, the only thing that changes is our office window. Like we still have our schedule again, it's still on our calendar. The only thing that changes is our office window, and we can't go play until we get work done. So, but this is why we started off with Facebook ads. We then transitioned into social, which is what we do now. In regards to now, I don't do the ISA role where I'm teeing it up for agents anymore. We have a VA that kind of does that in a similar capacity for our agents now, but now I do more agent recruiting and onboarding. So now we kind of focus more on social media. We have like a different kind of approach in regards to like Facebook groups, but then we do pretty well just organically through our organic social, just like Reels, just organic content on our page. So we kind of travel or transition to that way. But this is what we teach all of our agents now going forward is everything that we've implemented, the same tactics, principles, strategies, recommendations, so that way they can start building it. I tell our agents like, I built mine over Facebook ads. But if you do enough open houses, at some point you're going to have a pretty good database that you're going to need to have a consistent rhythm, cadence, follow up. So at some point you're going to need to do lead generation. Again, why are we doing all these activities and getting all these leads if we're not going to continuously follow up with them? So we teach them. It doesn't matter what your source is, because even some of them, I don't want a cold call. Well, you don't have to. But at some point, you're going to need to pick up the phone and connect with the people that you met face to face at an open house, or that you met at a networking event or a get together or something. You're going to have to pick up that phone. And even if you did know everybody, oh, that's great for you. That's not like that for most, but you're still going to have that cadence. So we just still build, or still help our agents build that out in that capacity. Now, in regards to what we do, like, our VA, she kind of just tees it up. Like just reaches out. Like we've tried different ISA models and things like that. It is a pain to grow, to build, to sustain, unless that's something you're going to advocate a lot of time on. I like working with builders who, if you want to incorporate that, I'll teach you how to do it, and then you can go put it in your organization. But that's not what we do now. We just have a VA who kind of starts the initial engagement or conversation, and then says, okay, perfect. I'm going to have one of my partners reach out. They'll be in touch within the next 24 hours. And then we just, lead distribute it to one of the agents on our team. So that's still getting done in that capacity. But then now, like on average, we'll probably travel 3 months out of the year total. And this model is what allowed us to help do it. Like we still kind of do it in a sense, like my wife is my business partner. She's still in production. So even if she has a consultation, that's why we do it over Zoom, is because no matter where we're at or what we're doing, the social media, the Facebook ads, her consultations, she uses a lot of productivity partners, which is, like showing agents, to where now it's the same business, but it's been able to be built to where we can do it virtually or from anywhere that we have a Wi-Fi connection and a cell phone signal. So the business is essentially still the same, but now it's in a more virtual kind of hands-off capacity, which was the next step that we had to kind of figure out or put together out of necessity. My wife, she gets to the point to where if she's not doing 10 plus transactions a month, she's annoyed or pissed, right? So we knew that if to maintain that volume or capacity, or to be able to surpass that, she couldn't be on physical showings anymore. We knew that she couldn't do physical consultations, because even if she had 5 or 6 a day, well, maybe it's 1.5 hour this way, 1.5 hour this way, 1.5 hour this way. So we just put things in place like virtual consultations, productivity partners. So we still have boots on the ground. So that way her capacity could continue to grow and scale. So business is still the same, but kind of more, I guess you say, modernized or digital now.
Yeah, man, that's so cool, and it reminds me of, the concepts that are in the book, The E-Myth, of start with the end in mind. I think a lot of people aren't looking at the lifestyle that they want to build and being able to reverse engineer that to start today with the activities that will lead them there. They kind of just like go, aimlessly throughout their business and wonder, 5, 10 years, 15 years down the road, why they don't have the lifestyle when they didn't build it in a way that even lends itself to living that lifestyle. And so getting to know you and Naleka, you guys have some of the most incredible strategies. Again, like you kind of just touched on, but Facebook groups that are generating $40,000 to $60,000 in commission a month, and being able to travel and have this structure in place. And one of the things that I love is that you guys actually show other agents how to be able to build a similar style of business in their market. And because again, you've systemized it, you've proven it. It's a rinse and repeat opportunity if you have that process in place. So as I always like to ask, I'd love to kind of get your understanding as to, why you decided to partner over here with EXP, and most importantly, what can people expect when partnering with you and Naleka, in order to take their business to the next model.
Yeah, man, great question. I appreciate that. So one, yeah, like we've helped numerous agents kind of put together or build out or integrate this same model. We've had some where we were able to catch it, pretty early on, where it was like, hey, okay, well, you want to do open houses? That's cool. Let's do it now, but let's also start putting together a separate lead generation source that you can do while you're out of town or traveling, or maybe you don't even want to travel. Maybe you just want to be present with your family at your kid's school or charity event or religious organization, whatever it is. We've helped agents be able to do it all. But like if we built our business over open houses, we kind of would have been chained or anchored here. Like if we weren't doing those open houses, our business wouldn't have been able to be as predictable or scalable as it was. So yeah, definitely a great insight on that is, we could help you figure out what lead source is going to be best or kind of place your skill set, which is then why we also pivoted heavy into social. I don't mind picking up the phones, calling and being on it. I do like to get to where we're more of an attraction model now, where it's like people are reaching out to me. So that way, so that's also too why we kind of pivoted to social, but we can reach a lot more, a lot faster than what it would take me to kind of pound through the phones. Yeah, so we were a brokerage for about 18 months. My wife, again, business partner, she was the broker for our brokerage. And, we felt cool. We were a team beforehand. Just thought it was the next step. We kind of already ran ourselves like a micro brokerage. So we're like, why not? Just put our name on the door. Uh, Dude, man, it was hell. Just a lot of little things that we didn't consider a factor, like E&O complaints or issues, or other agents reaching out for other agents, or agents not responding, and like it was unenjoyable. Like we were no longer doing the things that we loved or wanted to do within our business. Like we've always loved growing and scaling. We've always loved, again, contributing or helping other people grow and expand their business. But it kind of took away from it. Like Naleka stepped out of production completely. I say completely, but maybe she worked 5 to 7 hours of like production a week, just because we felt guilty that Naleka, if she was out on an appointment, or on a Zoom or something like that, she wouldn't be available for the agents and their questions or their needs. So it was just miserable. So why we went to EXP was 100 different reasons. How much time do we got? Well, one, it was just more beneficial to our agents. Instantaneously, once we joined, not only did Naleka, like obviously she's not the broker anymore, but instead of it being just Naleka as a broker, now we have 5 within our state. We have transaction team and support. We have a team leader support side that we can reach out to as the team leader for additional support or resources. Our agents have so much more trainings, knowledge, resources. We were primarily a residential brokerage, and would refer out a lot of our commercial, but now agents can do commercial, luxury, wholesale, REO, so they could do more niches or get in front of more clients. Just the caliber of the agents that are there were just a lot higher. And we like to be, a small fish in a big pond until we, go there. And then we're always looking for the next pond, right? But we always like to be around, the productive, like the top producers, right? It just makes us more hungry and motivated. But yeah, so it was like we were at a point to where we needed to hire a couple more positions, like a recruiter or a designated broker. But then in making this change, not only did we get all that, but we got it at a way higher caliber. So it was just a way it was just way more advantageous in all things considered in regards to our agents, to us, to our quality of life. As I mentioned earlier, like the reason why we did a brokerage is it was a franchise, and it was like a national franchise. So we thought we'd be able to partner, collaborate, and kind of grow together with all these other different franchises across the country. It was not the case. It was a lot harder, a lot more like red tape than what we thought or anticipated or were told. So now at EXP, I mean, we're collaborating with agents out in Atlanta and Utah and Wisconsin, Ohio, and I love that. I love being able to take people that we've met throughout our 9 years of doing this, and now truly being able to grow, collaborate, support, and everybody truly wins. So I love that component. Again, we were the broker. Even us as a broker owner, when we did closings, we didn't get any stock, or I would before. So now we get additional stock, which is awesome for doing the same things that we were doing anyways. I've brought on not only to within our organization, but the brokerage I was at beforehand, easy 100 agents. I didn't get any additional benefit from it. You know what I mean? So now, not only do I get the benefit of bringing other agents in, whether they stay within our organization or just go be an independent agent or start their own team, but I can go ahead and help our agents do that as well. So now our agents are incentivized, motivated to bring on agents, which they did naturally, right? They're, hey, Mike, you're doing great. I see you're over there killing it. I'm getting my license. Where do you think I should join? Oh, well, come over here with us, right? So now we just start stacking it under them, start helping them build their rev share, which a lot of the agents are liking. So it was just more resources and knowledge, but then also more income opportunities for our agents, which was just hands down a no-brainer. So we just, stroked the check, did our buyout, and it's been about 2 months now, and we haven't even thought about it. We are just ecstatic. It's been great working and partnering with you, my guy. It's been just very educational to say the least. So again, just the type of caliber and people that we get to work and collaborate with, man, it's been super exciting and super fun.
Yeah, man, it's so exciting just to see that, between you, myself, and Joshua Smith, the three of us, and Naleka, the four of us are able to just be incredible partners that can just give everything that works for us for free to anybody that partners with us. And that's why, I'm really bullish on the stance that, knowing that 71% of agents didn't close a deal last year, if you're falling into that category this year, it's because you're choosing to fall into that category. You look at opportunities like this where you get to partner with four people executing at the highest level, willing to, pour into you, give you all the exact strategies, the complete framework, all the support for free. If you have access to that and you're not capitalizing on it, that's a choice that you're making, right? But it doesn't have to be the choice that you continue to make. So again, Armando, couldn't be more grateful, man, for you kind of revealing your blueprint. And I know that that's just the tip of the iceberg of what you guys actually do. And so anybody that's listening, I do encourage you to click that link in the description, book your conversation with Armando, and have that open, confidential conversation about what we can do to help take your business to a radically different level while also building the lifestyle that you've always dreamed of. So Armando, thanks so much again, man.
My man, super appreciative, super honored to be on. Thank you so much, my man. I always appreciate your time.
Of course, dude. Guys, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you guys in the next video.